RealityKit is designed to work with ARKit to make your augmented reality experiences as realistic as possible on iPhones, iPads, and the Vision Pro. It handles accurate lighting, shadows, shading, real-world physics and collision detection, animations and audio with spatial effects, and custom post-processing so you can create whatever environment you like. You can even capture your own objects to create 3D renders of them using object capture. So if you're wondering, what even is RealityKit and what can it do? You're in the right place. Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. RealityKit does a ton of the heavy lifting for you when it comes to creating an augmented reality experience. At a high level, you can use an AR view on an iPhone or an iPad, or a reality view in visionOS to get a scene that has all the AR goodness built into it. A quick note, when building an AR experience for the iPhone or the iPad, you will be using UIKit. However, on visionOS, Reality View is built in SwiftUI because visionOS is a SwiftUI first platform. So when you use an AR view or a Reality View, you just get so much out of the box for your AR experience. You get scene understanding and world tracking, object occlusion, where your AR object can go behind a real-world object. You get realistic lighting and shadows. You get real-world physics and collision detection, not only with other AR objects, but with real-world objects as well. You get motion blur on moving objects and even depth of field. Again, the goal of RealityKit is to make your AR experience look and feel as realistic as possible. Okay, so we've talked about how your AR scene is set up using an AR view or reality view. Now let's talk about getting an actual 3D object into your augmented reality experience. First up, we have what are called entities. Think of entities as these AR objects you put in your environment. And these are a USDZ file, which is a file format created by Pixar, and it stands for Universal Scene Description Zip. But to put it simply, this is your 3D object. So how do we get these 3D objects or USDZ files? Well, there's a couple different ways. Apple has built-in default ones, which are fun to play around with and practice, but are probably not going to meet your needs in a production app. There's also some websites out there that offer some free resources, but you're kind of getting into the land of stock photos where you have to pay for a lot of them, and sometimes the websites are sketchy with all kind of ads popping up. But that is one possible route. Another way you could go, if you're really serious and money's no object, is you could hire a 3D artist to create these for you. Or you can create your own objects using object capture, but we'll talk more about that in a second. Okay, so now that we have our USDZ file or entity, we need to place it into the AR scene. And we do that by using anchors. We attach our entity, which is the USDZ file, to an anchor in the scene, so RealityKit knows how to display our object in the real world, like what to attach it to, whether we're attaching it to a table, a wall, etc. And there's a variety of different anchor types, as you can see here. But the bottom line is, once they are attached to an anchor, they will look like they are really there in your AR experience. And because we're using an AR view or a reality view, we get all that realistic lighting and shading and physics all out of the box. Okay, back to capturing your own objects using object capture, because this is really cool. But there's a few different ways you can do this as well. And it comes down to various levels of detail. Because you can imagine if you're building a very high-end shopping experience and people are making big purchases based on your AR experience, you're gonna want those items to be insanely detailed. And on the other end of the spectrum, if you're just building a fun mini game, maybe you don't need that level of detail. And I say this because this determines how much effort you're gonna put into creating these objects. Let me show you. So if you don't need insane detail, there's an app on the App Store called Reality Composer that you can get for your iPhone and your iPad. And as you can see here, you take a video of the object from all different angles and it creates your 3D object. And if this provides enough detail for what you need, boom, you're good to go. Very simple. However, if you're gonna need more detail, you're gonna need to take your own photos of the object, anywhere from 20 to 200. And the key here is you get out what you put in, right? If you only take 20 low quality photos, your 3D render's probably gonna suck. But if you take 200 high quality photos, well lit from all different angles, you're probably gonna get a pretty good object. And if you want to go to the even next level, right, this is probably what you would do if you wanted that high-end shopping experience with tons of detail. As you can see, you can set up a professional photo shoot with a turntable, professional lighting, take 300 photos, the more the better. So again, the point is, you're going to get out what you put into this one. Then you take all those photos, put them into Reality Composer Pro, which uses RealityKit's photogrammetry API to create your 3D object. So now you have your USDZ file that you can use in your Vision Pro app however you like. Quick side note, in a few days, I'm gonna have a video on my channel all about how to use Reality Composer and Reality Composer Pro, so stay tuned for that. So RealityKit works hand in hand with ARKit to make your augmented reality experience as realistic as possible. Through things like different environments or lighting, shadows, real-world collision detection, animations. And it provides you a way to capture your own 3D models using object capture. So hopefully this video got your wheels spinning for some ideas for your app. And if you're here learning how to make a great Vision Pro app, it's a good idea to have a portfolio website to showcase your awesome work. And that brings me to today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to help you get that iOS developer portfolio, blog, or personal website up and running very quickly. Now I know we're all developers with these skills and the desire to build the web page ourselves, but I would argue there's an opportunity cost to your time. If you're an iOS developer trying to build a great product, a great app, maybe spending a lot of time learning the ins and outs of web development, responsive design, isn't the best way to spend your time. That's why I recommend Squarespace to build that personal website, the blog, your portfolio, or maybe a landing page for your app. They have all kinds of beautiful themes and templates to get you started. They handle all the analytics and the SEO for you. Again, it just saves you so much time so you can get back to doing what you want to do, and that is building iOS apps. So when you're ready to get started, go to squarespace.com to start your free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/SeanAllen to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.